Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. So on today's video tutorial, guys, we are still going through the grade 11 mathematical literacy paper 1 that was written in November 2022 by the Eastern Cape learners, right? And guys, we're going to be using this paper just to help us prepare for our final exams, okay? So in this video tutorial, guys, we're going to be having a look at question 3, and question 3 basically deals with data handling. Okay, so we're going to be calculating the mean, we're going to be calculating the median, we're going to be calculating or determining the median, we're going to be calculating the range, right? And we're also going to be interpreting the information that is basically given to us in the table below. Okay, so before we get started with today's video tutorial, guys, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure that you click on that notification bell so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video tutorial, guys. And also please don't forget to give this video tutorial a huge thumbs up, because that really helps the channel grow, guys, and it helps the channel to reach more learners that want to better their mathematics marks. Okay, please share these video tutorials, guys, with your friends. That will really help the channel, and it will also help other learners that are also struggling with mathematical literacy. So without any further ado, guys, let's get started with today's video tutorial. So like I mentioned, guys, in today's video tutorial, we're going to be having a look at question 3 from this past paper, right? I'll also just put a link to the past paper down in the description box if you don't have this paper. So you can just try this paper on your own. And once you've basically attempted the paper, then have a look at or go through the tutorial with me to just see if you understood what you were supposed to understand, and to also just gain explanations on certain topics that you didn't understand while you were going through the paper. Okay, so let us get started. All right, it says motor trade sales in the months January to December for the years 2018 and 2019 at current prices then are shown in the table below. Okay, so they basically tell us that this table below basically shows the motor trade sales at the prices at those years. Okay, so it shows the motor trade sales in the year 2018, the motor trade sales in the year 2019, right? And it shows these motor trade sales, right, in the units rands in millions. Okay, so what do they mean by that? Okay, let me just help you guys understand what they mean by that by just looking at the first month. Okay, so in the first month, January, right, we are told that in the year 2018, right, the motor trade sales amounted to 53044 rands, right, in millions. Okay, so what does that 53,044 rands in million basically mean? Okay, so I'm gonna basically explain that to you guys here on the side. Okay, so what does that mean? So you're basically told that the trade sales for the month of January is 53,044 rands in million. Okay, so if we had to now write out this whole value in full, what would it be? Okay, so that basically means that, guys, we already know that when we're basically dealing with millions, right, a million, right, is a value that basically has like 6 zeros. Okay, right? So in this case, because we are told that this is 53044 million, right, that basically means that this amount is actually, right, so you're gonna just write that 53044, and million, we know that we have to have how many zeros? 6 zeros. Okay, so we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we had to now literally read out this whole value, now taking into considerations the million that we've basically included, what would this value actually be, right? This value then, right, is actually 53 billion. Why am I saying it's 53 billion? Because we see that now here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits, right, that come after the 53 number. Okay, so that basically tells us that if we had to now read out this whole value, it would be then 53 billion, okay, 44 million. Okay, so that's basically what we are basically told in this table, that we basically need to add a million to all these values that are basically given to us to actually get what the actual figure is. Okay, so I think we're done with analyzing the table. All right, the rest is basically the same. So if you basically understand this point here, you will be able to basically tackle the questions that are given to us. So let's have a look at the first question. Okay, so it says use the information above to answer the following questions. Okay, 3.1 says write down the month and the year when the trade sales were the lowest of the 2 years. So in this case, we basically want to find which month and which year did we have the lowest trade sales. Okay, so we want to look at all this information that is given to us here, and we want to have the month or the end of the year that has the lowest value of the trade sales. If you basically skim through there, right, and you skim through, you will see that, oh, actually, the month of April and the year 2018 was when the trade sales were basically the lowest, okay, for these 2 years. Okay, so then the month and the year when the trade sales were the lowest for the 2 years was basically April 2018. Okay, so we're going to write that down, right? Let us have a look at the next question, right? 3.2 says determine the range for the amount of trade sales for the months in the year 2019. Okay, so this question basically wants us to determine what the range, okay, for the amount of trade sales for the months in 2019. So we're going to look at all of the months, right, that are given for the year 2019, and we want to now determine the range of the amount of trade sales that basically occurred. How do you determine range, guys? Okay, for us to be able to determine now the range of the trade sales, right, we need to basically take the maximum value of the trade sales and you minus the minimum amount for the trade sales, for which year we're going to focus our attention on the year 2019. Okay, so that is exactly what we are going to do. We're not going to focus on the total. We're just going to focus on only the values for the month. Okay, so we're going to basically skim through this information that is given to us, and we're going to find the maximum value, and then we're going to find the minimum value, and then from there we will be able to then determine the range. Because how do we basically calculate range, guys? Range is equal to your maximum value minus your minimum value. Okay, so we already know that range is equal to your maximum amount minus your minimum amount. Okay, so when you basically skim through all these months, what is our maximum amount? So we can see that, okay, it looks like 59,000 is the maximum value here. So 5927, okay, is there another 59? That's another one. We can see that's 59960. So that is our maximum. Okay, so we're gonna take that amount. Okay, so we're gonna take that amount of 59960, and you're gonna minus it with, okay, what is our minimum value? Okay, so we already said that this one is our maximum value. Okay, what is our minimum value? What is the lowest amount here? We've got a 52 here, we've got a 52 there. So which 52 is the lowest? So it's 52361. This is 52718. Okay, so I can see that this 152361 is the minimum or the lowest value there. Okay, so that is our minimum. So we're basically now going to subtract that from, or substitute that into our equation. Okay, so it's going to be, remember guys, also, right, this is basically represented in millions. So it's 59960 million, right, minus, okay, that 52361 million. So it's 52361 million. Okay, so if you punch that into your calculator, what do you guys get? Okay, 59960 minus 52361, you'll get that you get 7599 million. Okay, so someone is basically asking, probably wondering, do we have to convert this million into digits, right? So guys, you don't have to really worry about that way. Now someone is probably thinking, should I write it as 59960 million? So I need to put 1 2 3 4 5 6 minus 52361 million. 1 2 3 4 5 6. You can also do it like this, and you can also do it like that. Okay, but doing it like that, the method that I've just given you, is just better, just so that you don't basically make any mistakes. Okay, so that way, this way is also fine, just to also maintain the simplicity. You don't want to be working with such a big number. Okay, so it's just better to just leave it as a million, the way that they've basically given to you, so that you don't make any silly mistakes when you now punch that into your calculator. All right, let us have a look at question number 3.3. Okay, it says write down the total amount of the trade sales for the year 2018 in words. Okay, so we want the total amount. Okay, you want the total amount of trade sales for the year 2018 in words. Okay, so we're gonna focus our attention on the year 2018, right? And then we want to determine what were the total trade sales for the year 2018. Okay, and guys, here it's very nice and easy. They've basically added up the trade sales for you guys here, right? And we can see that the total amount of trade sales for the year 2018 is 666, right? 424 million. Okay, don't forget that the values that are basically are written in this table are represented in rands in million. Okay, so then how would we write this value in words? Okay, so I'm just gonna write this is 3.3, right? Okay, so when you're also doing these type of questions, you need to remember what you guys learned in grade 9 when it comes to place value. Okay, you need to think back to that, because it helps you with these questions, especially in helping you determine where is the million, where is the 100,000, where is the billion. Okay, so you need to take into consideration that. Okay, I'm firstly going to write down the value or the digits right out. So we already know that it's 666, right? And then it's 424 million. This is the value, okay, in rands. Okay, so now we want to basically convert now this into words. Okay, so we can just write it out. So it's going to be 666, right? Then it's 424, and then we know that if it's a million, we need to now have 6 zeros. Okay, so it's going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so now what is this value in words? Okay, we know that now because we have how many digits. So you're going to first count if you've got 6 digits from the left here, then we know that we're basically dealing with like a million. Okay, if you've got 9 digits from the left, then we dealing with a billion. Okay, I'm going to show you how we basically going to determine that. Okay, we know that this value that is here, when we have a value here, this value basically represents the ones. Okay, this value here represents the tens. Okay, this value here, the digit that is in this place value represents the hundreds. Okay, this digit here represents the thousands. Okay, this digit here represents the 10,000. Okay, so this digit here, like I mentioned, this one basically represents your 10,000s, right? Okay, this digit here represents your 100,000s. Okay, this digit here represents now your millions. Okay, so now we move to our milli, right? And then this represents your 10 millions. Okay, 10 M's, right? This one represents your 100 millions. Okay, so I'll just say 100 M's. Okay, this one now, how many digits do we now have? Okay, so this is the 100 million, because we already know that 6 zeros tells us that we're dealing with a million. So if we had to basically cover up this whole value here, right, we would know that, okay, if we just had to read from there to there, we are basically dealing with 4 million, right? If we had to read from the 2 to there, right, in that case, we would be dealing with 24 million, okay? If we had to read from the 4 going all the way there, we're basically dealing with 424 million. Okay, so now we're basically done with dealing with our millions. What happens with this 6? What is the place value of this 6? Now, how many values or digits do we have before the 6? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits. So that tells us now, since we've got 9 digits, not only zeros, but also 9 digits, that tells us that in this case, we are dealing with a billion. Okay, so this is in the place value of a billion. Okay, this is a billion, a billion, all right? And then what is the place value of this 6? It's 10 billion. Okay, so I'm going to just say 10 billion. Right? And what is the place value of this 6? It's 100 billion. Right? So that is basically how you now, that is where your mind needs to be at when you now have to write out this value in words. Okay, think of place values, okay, to help you out in that regard. Okay, so let's just now write out this whole value in words. Okay, but before we can even write it in words, what is it? Okay, we can basically see that now we're obviously dealing with a billion, because how many digits do we have here? Right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits, right? After the place value, after the value that is in the place value of a billion. Okay, so in this case, we already know that we're dealing with 666 billion. 424 million. Okay, that is it. That is how we basically are supposed to write this value in words. Okay, so it's 600 because this is in the 6, it's in the, this 6 is in the place value of the 100 billion. Okay, so it's 666 billion. Okay, 424 million, and we are done. Okay, let us basically write that down. Okay, therefore, the final answer is 666 billion 424 million. And we are basically done. Okay, so that is basically what this question is asking from us, to write down this value, right, in words, and that is the answer that you are supposed to. Okay, so we are done with question 3.3. Let us have a look at question 3.4. It says, calculate the mean trade sales for the year 2018. So I'm basically going to answer this question on the next page, right? And before we even get started with answering the questions, guys, when they ask you to basically calculate the mean, what are they actually asking from you guys, right? What is the mean? Okay, guys, we already know that when they're asking for the mean, they're asking you to determine what? The average, okay? Average trade sales for the year 2018. Okay, so we're gonna be focusing on the year 2018, and we want to now calculate the average trade sales for that year. Okay, how do we calculate the average? Okay, you basically, for you to calculate the average, guys, you basically sum up. Okay, you need to sum up, right? Actually, let's write this. The mean or the average, right, is equal to the sum, right? That sigma there means the sum of all the trade sales, right, for the year 2018, right? Divided by how many months, the total trade sales that they had for the year 2018. And we already know that the total was just 12. Okay, but I'm going to just take it step by step. Okay, so what are the total, the sum of the trade sales for the year 2018, right? We're just going to have a look at our information that is given to us here, right? And they already made our life super easy because they've already given us what the total trade sales were for the year 2018. And the total trade sales for the year 2018 was what? Was 666 billion. 424 million. Okay, however, we're not going to write it out like that when we are obviously calculating our average, just so that we maintain accuracy and we don't make silly mistakes. But I'm going to show you how we are basically gonna write that. Okay, so we already know that we can also just write it as, right, the total trade sales are that 66. Okay, and we can just write it as million, right, divided by how many total sales did they have in the year 2018? They had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total sales. Okay, because we only have 12 months in a year, right? So it's going to be divided by the total number of sales that they basically had, right? And then if you punch this into your calculator, guys, you can just write it as 666,424 divided by 12. But remember that you're going to basically keep this unit because it's not canceling with anything, right? So if you punch this into your calculator, you'll get that now the mean or the average trade sales for the year 2018 amounted to 555.33333, going on and on and on, but I'm just going to round it off to just 2 decimal places, so we can just say million. All right, and that is basically it. We've basically determined what the mean sales are in millions for the year of 2018. Okay, let's have a look at question 3.5. Okay, it says determine the median value of the trade sales for the months January to December in the year 2019. Okay, so in this case, guys, we're going to be focusing our attention on which year? On the year 2019, right? And we want to be able to determine the median. Okay, what is the median, guys, right? When we're basically looking for the median, we're looking for the value that is in the middle. Okay, so we now need to basically list all these values that have been given to us, right? And then it's very important that you guys remember when we're basically working with ungrouped data, right? This is individual data. Okay, you need to remember that when you want to basically determine your median, when you want to determine your quartile 1, when you want to determine your quartile 2, right, when you're organizing that data into different quartiles and things like that, you need to remember that that data needs to first be in ascending order, right? So what is ascending order? When we put our data in ascending order, guys, we are basically putting our values from the smallest value to the biggest value. And then once we've basically done that, then we can now start to basically determine, even in other questions, let's say when you guys get to questions maybe that ask you to determine quartile 1, quartile 2, right, quartile 3, then you can determine those quartiles once you've basically arranged your data in ascending order. Okay, so all that we're going to do now, we're going to basically start arranging our data in ascending order by starting with the lowest value for 2019 and going on to the largest value for 2019. So which value is the lowest in 2019, right? I think we already calculated or found that the minimum value was 52361. Okay, so I'm going to basically arrange this data. So just check that you've arranged the data correctly, and then from there once we've basically arranged our data in ascending order, starting with this value as our first value, right? Then we will basically determine the median. Okay, so just look at the list data that I have and just make sure that you've arranged the data in ascending order in the correct form. Okay, guys, this is question 3.4. Sorry, this is so the first value is 52361, right? The second value is 52718, right? The next value is 53844, right? The next value is 54249. The next value is 54467. The next value is 54981. The next value is 55646. Next value is 56846. The next value is 57915. The next value is 58435. The next value is 59270. The next value is 59960. Okay, so I've basically arranged this data for you in ascending order. So just make sure that you guys check to see if you also got the same values in ascending order. Okay, so once we've basically arranged our data in ascending order, guys, we can now basically try and find our median. Okay, so the median value, guys, is the value that is in the middle, right? So how can you basically determine the value that is in the middle, right? The value that is in the middle, guys, basically for you to be sure that the value that you have is the median value, you need to have equal amount of numbers on the left hand side and on the right hand side. Okay, and then that value is the value that we'll have in the middle, or the median. Okay, for example, let's say we had 3, we've got 4, we've got 5, okay, we've got 8, and we've got 10. We've got this data here, and this data is arranged in ascending order, right? And then for us to now determine the middle value for this data, I just mentioned that we basically need to find the value that is in the middle, right? That basically now cuts our data into 2 equal halves. So we have the same number of values on the left hand side and on the right hand side. Okay, so what is that value? Okay, so what is that value? We can see that, okay, the value that is in the middle for this data is 5, because then in this case we will have 2 values on the left, and you also have 2 values on the right. Okay, what happens if, let's say, for example, you had a 3, you had a 4, you had a 7, you had an 8, you had a 9, you had a 10, and you had 11? Which value given this data set would be in the middle? Okay, so then we already know that we want to look for values that basically, okay, let me just also add a 12 there, right? Okay, so now we want to find the median here, right? Okay, how would we also do that? We also look for the value or the values, right? That will basically give us equal number of values on the left hand side, equal number of values on the right hand side. Okay, so we'll see, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've counted 3. Let's count 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've counted 3. Okay, so these 2 values now, both of these values are basically in the middle. However, that means that the middle value will be a value that is in between those values. Okay, so if we have a scenario like this, for us to be able to get the median, guys, we'll just take the 8 plus the 9 divided by the 2, and this will give us what now the median value is there, right? Still then giving a value, right, that will basically divide our data into 2 equal into half. Okay, so that's basically what you have to do. If you have to basically determine a median and you've got an odd data set, right, then it's just easy. The median will just be a single value, right? But if you are basically given an even data set, right, then the median would be in between 2 values, right? So like in this case, our median was in between 8 and 9. Okay, so let's basically see what we are basically given in this situation here, right? Are we given an even or an odd data set? Okay, so here, how many values do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you've got an even data set. So if you've got an even data set, then we know that our median value will be in between two values, okay, from this data set, okay? So that means that when we're basically counting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're counting 6 from the right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the right. Okay. Let's see. When we count 6 from the left, this is 6 from the left, sorry. Then let's see when we count 6 from the right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 from the right. Okay. So that means that, okay, we need to then count 5 from the right and 5 from the left. Okay. So let's see. When we count 5 from the left, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's count from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do you see that now? Okay, our median value is actually a number that is in between these two values. Okay, so for us to then be able to determine what our median is going to be, right, all that we need to do, guys, is simply just take that 5. Therefore, your median, right, is just going to be equal to that 5, 4, 9, 8, 1. Remember, guys, this is in million, okay, plus 5, 5, 6, 4, 6 million, okay, this is rands, okay, divided by 2, okay. This will give us what our median value is, okay. So you'll get that your median, if you punch into your calculator, the median value is 55313.5 million. All right. Okay, because our units haven't cancelled, guys. All right. So you need to obviously contain or basically include your units in your, and we are basically done. Okay, so the tip here is just noting that when you've got an even data set, right, your median is going to be a value that is in between two values. Okay, but if you've got an odd data set, then your median is just going to be one single value. All right, and guys, we are done with question 3.5. Let us have a look at question 3.6 and 3.7. So question 3.6, it says express the amount of trade sales of October 2018 as a percentage of the total trade sales for the year 2018. So in this case, guys, we're going to be calculating a percentage, okay? Percentage of what? So we want to basically look at the amount of trade sales for October 2018 as a percentage of the total trade sales for the year 2018. So this question tells you exactly what you need to do, right? You don't even have to panic. We already know that, obviously, guys, when you're calculating percentage, it's a particular value divided by the total, right, from the data that you're given multiplied by 100, right? So in this case, they told you what that individual value is. We want to calculate the percentage for the October sales, right, for 2018. Those are the October sales for 2018, okay, as a percentage of the total sales for the year 2018. So all that we need to do to be able to get the percentage of the total sales that occurred in October, you're just going to take that 6406 and you're going to divide by 666424 multiplied by 100. That is all that you have to basically do here, right? Because it tells you exactly what you need. So let's basically write that down. This is question 3.6. Okay, so we're going to look at the individual month, which is October. What were the total number of sales for October, right? It was 60406, right, million. Okay, and then we want the total with respect to what? The year 2018. So what are the total for the year 2018? It is 666, okay, 424 million, right? And then when we're calculating percentages, what do? You multiply it by 100 because we want to determine what was the percentage of the total sales for October 2018 when you compare it with the total sales. Okay, so in this case, what do we notice about the units, guys? In this case, the million, they cancel. The rand, they cancel. If you just punch 60406 divided by 666424 into your calculator, what do you get? You will get that, okay, the percentage of the sales is actually equal to 9.064199369%, which is approximately equal to 9.06% if you round it off to two decimal places. Okay, and that is basically the percentage of the sales for 2020. Okay, right, October 28th. Let us have a look at the last question. It says question 3.7, determine the probability as a fraction. Okay, so we want to leave it as a fraction. We're not leaving it as a decimal. We're not leaving it as a percentage. We are leaving it as a fraction of randomly selecting a month that shows a decline in the amount of sales from the year 2018 to 2019. Okay, so we're going to basically just focus on 1 year. Okay, and then from that year, right, we need to obviously see, do we have a decline when you move from 2018 to 2019, right? That is what we're basically trying to see. If it was a particular amount in 2018, right, in 2019, that amount needs to be less. Okay, that is what we're looking for. But before we even get to that, right, for us to be able to start this question off, how do we calculate probability, guys, right? When we're calculating probability is equal to your favorable outcomes divided by your total outcomes, okay? Okay, so in this case, what are the favorable outcomes? The favorable outcomes are the outcomes that we want. So you want the months where there was a what? A decline in the trade sales divided by the total outcomes. How many months do we have? We've got 12 months. Okay, so that is our starting point. That is our foundation, right? So the next thing we need to do, we just need to determine the favorable outcomes. What are the months that basically represent a decline when you move from 2018 to 2019? There has to be an amount less in 2019. So from 2018 to 2019 for January, it was 53044, and then here it was 538. So this one is an increase. So we're not going to count that one. We are scratching it off. It does not show a decline. From February, it was 53321. This is 52. So this one, we're not going to scratch it off. That month shows a decline because the sales decreased. Okay, so that one we're going to count. Okay, then let's go on to the next month. Okay, for March, it was 58353. Here it was 55. It shows a decline. We're going to count. Okay, here 49633. It shows an increase. We are not going to count. That's not what we want. Okay, here 56064. 56. It shows an increase. We're not gonna count. 552635. It shows a decline. It declined. We're gonna count. 56405. It shows an increase. We are not going to count. This one, 57598. It shows an increase. We are not going to count. Scratch it out. 544. Okay, 546. We're not gonna count. It's an increase. 604. It shows a decline because it goes from a 60 to a 59. Right? This one, 4605. It shows a decline. So we are going to count. This one, 51. It shows an increase. We are not going to count. So how many favorable outcomes do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And what are our total outcomes? Our total outcomes, right, is just 12. Okay, so therefore the probability of basically randomly selecting a month that shows a decline in the amount of trade sales from 2018 to 2019 is just 5/12, because remember they asked us to have that as a fraction. And guys, we are basically done with question number 3, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video tutorial, and I hope I'll manage to dissect all these problems with you guys in a way that basically made it easy for you guys to understand, right? So I'll see you guys in my next video tutorial, we're going to be tackling the whole of question 4. And from that, guys, you guys should be well off for your final exams. Please also have a look at the video tutorials that I've done on my channel on a number of topics on financial documents, tariff systems, right? If you're really struggling with those, right? Okay, so have a look at those video tutorial, guys, and I'll see you then on my next video tutorial. And also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.